Joining us now is Remi Piet. He's a research associate at the University of Miami European Union Center. So, Remi, do you think the debate made a difference for either candidate? Do you think there will be an impact on Sunday's vote?
I mean, it was an incredible, aggressive and violent debate. And what's interesting is to see that for people that might oppose Macron because he's perceived as a potential heir of failed policies in the past, they actually were able to see that in front of him is a demagogue candidate that uses a lot of fake news and fake facts and doesn't have any other alternative plans for France. What she's offering in terms of leaving the European Union, leaving the euro, just doesn't make any sense economically. And when Macron tried to push her on this, she was definitely in the ropes and could not defend her program. Unfortunately, it's been a very, let's say, violent and not controlled debate on both sides, and the different arguments were not pushed forward enough. But clearly, you could see on one side a leader that actually wants to push for protectionism, nationalism, back from the xenophobic past of her party, Marine Le Pen. And on the other one, you have a youngster that actually pushes for more Europe, more openness towards the future, and maybe a more ambitious view for the country.
So that being said, looking at it overall, who do you think won this debate?
I think down the road, it was both of them could claim to win it. I mean, for Macron, he was able to show that Marine Le Pen had short-sighted views. For Le Pen, he was a wonderful tribune to be able to showcase a position. I think what actually lost here is French politics in general, because that debate was not to the level of standards that we've seen in past debates in that campaign that were professional and different views and different arguments. Here was really two candidates just going at each other and using, sometimes arguments, especially in the case of Marine Le Pen, that were just bluntly false and trying to push towards the populistic agenda.
Well, two questions for you here then. Do you think that's a reflection of what we're seeing and what we've seen in other elections around the world? And what about this 18% of undecided voters? Do you think they will be swayed in either direction?
Well, I think it's very much in the vein of the different elections that we've seen, whether the Brexit elections or Donald Trump's election in the US. Marine Le Pen is very much in that direction, while you could actually maybe see Macron as someone more or less similar to a mainstream Europeanist and Atlanticist. At the same time, when you're looking to the second part of your question of the 18% of the population that doesn't really know who to vote for, here the issue is that Marine Le Pen is trying to pull on every aspect. She's trying to call on de Gaulle to convince people from the right wing. She's trying to call on, moving away from the European Union to push the supporters of Mélenchon. I think the big fault here and the fault, political fault, was for Mélenchon to not take a clear stance and push against fascism and against the position of Marine Le Pen, which are a danger to the country for the future.
So a few more days left to Sunday's election. What should we be watching for in these next few days?
I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see if Mélenchon moves away from his position of not supporting Macron, and we all understand why he's doing this, trying to position himself as the future opposition to a more mainstream candidate. It's going to be interesting to see if there's a possibility of Macron being at the center stage of those elections and creating a positive dynamic, because so far Marine Le Pen is making so much noise using fake arguments and false facts that she's able to be at the center stage of the elections today. So we need to see if the country is able to move away from this, kind of lethargy that it's into right now, to create a real strong positive dynamic for Macron to win by more than just a few percent.
And that being said, our last question, if you were to gamble on this, who do you think will win this election?
Well, I think down there it's pretty clear from the start that Macron will most likely win this election, because France is not the US, is not the UK on those aspects, and Le Pen is really even stronger and has a xenophobic path that is even stronger than the other, more populistic candidates in other elections. So Macron will probably win this election. The question now is to see by how much he's going to win this election, and if Le Pen is going to be able to claim that she is the real opposition to Macron over the next 5 years, while other political leaders that lost in the first round, Fillon, Hamon, Mélenchon, are trying to get that spots of main opposition. If Le Pen gets more than 40%, even if she wins lose the election on Sunday, it will still be a victory for her.
All right, Remi Piet, thank you so much for your insight.
Thank you.